Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Sean here, and today I want to show you how to use Visual Composer with your WordPress theme. Now, this is a project that we're extending from a class project at HCC for Frederick D. Barnes, awesome graphic artist. Check him out at his new website at frederickbarnes.site or on his Instagram account. Also, don't forget to click subscribe button below and give this video a like. I'm going to go over some basics now. Visual Composer has a free version and a paid version. Of course, I have the paid version installed in my man Frederick's website here. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how this works and give you a basic breakdown of Frederick's site because we got some really cool stuff. Now, I'm putting this out on YouTube because it's really hard to find information, especially for Visual Composer, and especially having an expert who knows how to modify a site for search engine optimization, give you tips on it. So, first of all, we're in the back end of his site. Let me go ahead and walk you through the back end real quick. Now, let me see if I can zoom in here and slide that over. Okay. Now over here in the side you'll see Visual Composer. This is typically where you'll set it up, and this is where all your parameters are, but this isn't typically where you want to go start designing. Now you can put together different grid layouts and stuff here, and you set your parameters basically here in Visual Composer, but where you actually do the work for Visual Composer is on the page itself. It's like an overlay, like a layer on top of the page that builds. So I'll simply go up here and I'll right click visit site, and we'll go to the home page first. And we're using the Bruno theme. I'm going to shrink it back. Now you can see up here in the very top where my mouse is, and I'm going to magnify it one more time for you. And see if I can blow it up a little bigger. See where it says edit with Visual Composer? Right here at the very top in the black bar. Now you have to be logged in into your admin account to have these editing features. But usually WordPress provides this black bar at the top that lets you edit and customize every single page. Now, this is how you start working on a page in Visual Composer. If this was a blank page and you started working on it in Visual Composer, this is where you would start working on it. So I'm going to go ahead and just click that button. Now, Visual Composer lets you work on the actual front of the page, plus it has an option to let you go and work in the back of the page like you normally would with any other page or post. So, typically I have a format for working, which is my workflow that makes it very fast for working in Visual Composer. Usually I'll do my layouts for like the structure of the page, my mock-up, if you will. I'll do that in the very back. And then I'll come to the front and I'll start laying all my images and graphics and content on top of it. And I'll show you how that's done here in just a second. Alright. Now we're in Visual Composer. Let me go ahead and shrink it back down so you can see the entire page. Now, since I pressed that, this is layout. You'll know that the slider is now missing, and now we have this reel down here. You're gonna notice some of the stuff is disengaged. That's because we're in editing mode, and it's taking away the CSS templates and the JavaScript templates that we normally use on this front page. So it's basic HTML and just using the JavaScript libraries that Visual Composer is made up of, in the PHP that it's made up of. So we can only use that so we can edit on top of this page. Now, what you'll see here, lighten up, these are rows and columns. Typically, if this was a blank page, you go up here to the left here, and let me blow it up one more time and get you over there. Right here, where my mouse is, on the plus sign here, this is where you would add a new element to the page, and here is where you can use a template of one of the grids that you develop. Now over in the back end in the left sidebar, where we were just at a few minutes ago, where I was telling you that's where you set everything up, is this is where you would activate those elements from, or where you obtain those elements from, is right here. So since this is already set up, our sections are set up. There's 5 sections on this page, and then with each section you set up your rows, and then in each row you want to set up your columns, and you just divide your page up into the sections you want, for the layouts you want, and then start adding components. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. So let's go ahead and go back to the normal size of the page. So here what I've done is I've added a row, and you can see here if I press the arrow button, some options roll out for me, where if I press these little hamburger menu looking thing, this gives me my layout for the row. It gives me a full complete row, a wide row section. It splits it in half, or it can give me a 2/3 by 1/3, or 1/3 by 1/3 by 1/3, or it can give me 1/4 by 1/4. Why it's not clicking, I don't know. But let me hover over it. There we go. But either way, it gives you all these different layouts for that row. Now, each section, I got 5 sections on that page, so that means I have 5 rows on this page, and within each row I have a row layout. So you can see right below here where my mouse is, these little these different little checker things. That's because if I was to go ahead and update that and have a third, see how it moved my information over here, and then it splits it up equally here, and then it gives me here. And these little plus signs where I would press to add an element, which we'll get to in a minute. So I'm not going to change anything, I'm just going to X out of it. And then I'm going to go over here, I'll go ahead and press this plus button so I can show you. Once you press that plus button, then all of your widgets show up here. Now, using the Bruno theme specifically, they have custom developed JavaScript widgets that they have built to use with Visual Composer, and that's why I use the Bruno theme, because they have these awesome layouts, and these are things that would take hours to code out by hand, even if you were to grab the code off the internet and put it together yourself. So you can see these are all the different elements you can lay out. Contact forms, here's your row section. This is where you go to lay a row out. And you got 2 kinds of plus buttons on that front page. You got little yellow ones and you got big gray ones. The big gray ones are for the actual row sections, to add your columns in there. And the little ones, the little yellow ones, that's if you have something in that column area, and then you can press the little yellow one and add more stuff. Basically, all you're doing is you're laying out rows, you're laying out columns, and you're adding these elements. And as you can see here, there's all kinds of crazy elements in here. You got Facebook likes, tweet meme buttons, Google buttons, Pinterest buttons. You could put an image gallery. You could put raw HTML, raw JavaScript, Flickr widget, and these don't all come with it. So don't get you wrong. You have to have a lot of these things installed. The plugins have to be installed and provide a widget. If there's no widget for it, then it's not. And you can go over to Visual Composer, and they got all kinds of custom widgets too. But all these DP widgets, these are all custom designed, have jQuery and have actions added to them and animations, and that's why I like them. Plus, they're all responsive. So we even have line charts up here, and grids and media galleries. So you can see everything's in here, from headlines to Google Maps to galleries, Flipboxes, icons, pie charts. So then all you'd simply do is go in here and say I want a progress bar, okay, or a quote carousel, because quotes are very important for any website. People want to see what people are saying about the website they're on. It's one of the most looked at things on a website. So let's go ahead and add a Flipbox. Alright, so I add a Flipbox by just simply clicking it, and then it'll load up the Flipbox for me here and give me all the parameters of the Flipbox, and it lays it out for me real nice. I can go ahead here, select an image for the Flipbox, and you could add any GIF, PNG, JPEG, just like you normally would anywhere else, any other section. So I lay that out here, and I can add an icon, so I'll just press that one if I want it, and the icon color, you can change that. Let's go ahead and change that to a blue, and then I can save that. And then front title, I can be like cool flipper. Right, that'll work. You know, I need another P in there. So alright, next save that, and let's see what it shows me. It also has settings for the back side of it, and then the additional settings is important. Every one of these elements has additional settings. These additional settings are for the layout of the section. You can add margins, you can add padding. This gives you your CSS element access, so you don't have to write custom CSS elements. That's another reason why I like Visual Composer, because you can get your CSS into this very quickly by adding this. So I can even add class names for CSS classes I have. I get to mess with directions. Here's the backslide settings. And here, if I go ahead and X out of it, you know, it gives me this cool little flip box. Flips around. Alright, now let me show you another one, like a well, actually I got some on the page. Let me go ahead and I'll just show you this. Now if I go back here to this column, you see how the row expands out? I can press that little arrow and it expands out. I got the plus. This will add a new column, because if you're inside a row, the next step is to add a column. You got to go up and down, not side to side. I can clone this row. So if I'm looking at all this row, everything you see my mouse hovering around, and I want it to clone this row, I go over here and I clone this and it'll clone that row. Okay, or I could delete it. Now the column has the same thing. So each one of these little columns, and you got to hover around until they pop up. And I can press that and it gives me an edit column, or I can prepend to the column, meaning I can add another element to it, or I can delete it. So if I go into the column and edit the column, then it gives me the CSS features I was telling you about. I can select whether I want parallax effects on it, CSS animations. You can only have this if you install the plugin Animate It. So if you want CSS animations, then I highly recommend uploading the plugin Animate It, which is free. And here's your design options I was telling you about. Now, as you can see here, I have my margin, my border, my padding. And what I love about this is it's similar to your Google inspector here, which, let me add that over here. Give me just a sec. Where'd it go? There it is, popping up here. Now, you'll see here I got all my HTML, and here's my CSS right there. Alright, now if I scroll down my CSS all the way to the bottom, make sure it's there. Get rid of that. Well, I don't have anything selected, but if I did, it would give me the same little box over here, but down here to adjust, but it wouldn't stick. This one actually sticks. Every change I put in here, if I put a border of 10 pixels, then save that, it's going to give me 10 pixels on the top of the border there. So you have all your CSS effects in there for you too. Just wanted to show you that quickly because the Google console does temporary fixes just for that page, for the DOM right there, while Visual Composer changes are permanent. You can implement them right here, and I can add border colors, so and like red, just the default. I can say if I want to cover, contain, repeat it, just all your basic CSS options. I can even add a background to that column if I want to. So if I want something static in that column, then I can add that. Or even if I want to put a GIF in there that's animated, then I can have a static animated GIF. So on and on and on, just layers and layers and layers. Then I got my responsive options where I can inherit all my different properties from to make this thing responsive, which the responsiveness is already set, the sizes are set. You can see there's the monitor, the mobile phone, the tablets, all right here. And these are preset in the back end too. So with Visual Composer, I have sizes set for certain screens. You can predefine those back in the Visual Composer in the very back end. in the left column in the admin panel, and you can predefine what your sizes you want on your screen. So when it hits 750, it's going to go to tablet. When it hits 420, I'm going to make it go to a mobile device. Well, it'd actually be under 420. It'd be like 380. The smallest one you want to do is 380. But anyway, it just depends on what devices you're shooting for. And as you can see, I can scroll down, go past this row, and I keep going down, and I can add these sections. You see, these are just different little blocks I've added in here. They might be a little disorientated while you're working on them, but they all line back up once you look on the page. So don't worry about how the orientation is specifically on here, as long as after you update it right here. Now I'm going to magnify this because none of these changes that I just did are going to take place unless you hit this update button, which is right here. See that? So if I updated it right now, all these changes would take effect. Just like a normal page, it has to take effect. Now you can see down here in this section, I had actually custom designed this tablets. I took our his images, the artist images for this website, and I had to manually put them in these little tablets and use Distorter. Did a lot of Photoshop on this side actually. So, but I wanted to get it going, and that's what we had to do to get it done. A lot of hours. Put in about 20 solid hours on this thing. But as you can see here, if I wanted to change any of these, all these different subjects pop up. Let me shrink in the screen. Go back. And here's what I was talking about here. What I made, and these right here, all these different sections were added. So this section that I'm hovering over right now, these are called accordions. So I can click on them, and they'll open up and down. They're basically buttons that have a content section inside of them, so that way the client can add like a little description, or he can put a little video or a little sound bite in there, or a picture, whatever he wants, he can put in there. They're just little HTML spots. I got text blocks in there, and then I got them labeled and all that stuff. And then over here, this is a button, and I can assign the features to the button. And you simply, any one of these elements you want to go on, you hover over, and the green box will pop up next to any one of these elements, and you just click this little pencil that says edit, and then it'll give you the properties box to let you edit it. It's pretty much that simple. I mean, I know I'm telling you a lot about this and how to go about this, but Visual Composer is basically an overlay to the website. You add your rows, you add your columns, and if you have rows and columns in place, you leave them alone, and you just add your elements to them like you're adding a widget to it. And you have features for your CSS and for the widgets, for the columns, and for your elements separately. So that's pretty much the extent of the front. Now this is where I do all my design work in Visual Composer, and I highly recommend using it. And if you've got a decent machine, like I'm running a 2-core, it's kind of slow for this, but if you got a graphics card, you should be able to burn through setting up a site like this in no time. And as you'll see here, all these different components. I have a row, and then what I've done with this row, how I set this row up, is this background section here. I'll show you where that's at in a minute, because that's where I set it up in the back. I lay out the grid to the site in the back, and I'm about to show you that in the Backend Editor. But what I've done is I've put a row, and then I've divided it into the third sections. I know it says 1-to-1, but it's actually thirds. You see this one over here? This one's got a quarter section over here, a quarter section over here, and then a half section in the middle. That's why it said half, because this section in there. So if I got rid of this whole white section, you'd see these little pluses, just 3 little pluses, because that's the grid of that row. So I went ahead and added an inner row and another column, and then added this whole section in here with a Flipbox image, a whole header, and then a form, which is just an email capture, which I've got connected to the client's MailChimp account. You can see down here, here's the little yellow ones I was talking about. So see, I can add something here. Let's add a gallery per se. Okay, and I can go ahead and add my images in here, and I'll just go do that one, add them in here. Just add that one image, and I can just add another image here. So and keep on if I wanted to. You see, so I can really build an actual gallery in here. Tell it how many columns I want, whether I wanted to use the normal margin or grayscale images. So you got total control of your CSS in here. That is why I like using this. It saves me a ton of time from having to hand code a bunch of CSS. Because usually I'll lay out a site, put it all the way I want it to. After I grid it out, I put my mock-up together, lay out all my elements on a page. Then you got to sit there with the CSS sheet and get to work. And that's usually when you open up your Google editor. You edit all your CSS, and then you copy that CSS, throw it on a style sheet, connect the style sheet, and you're done. Which might seem simpler in some ways, but this just going down the road, getting it all taken care of in one place, makes it real efficient. It's a good way to do it. So I'm not going to save that. I just want to show you that I can add something here. And then down here I got a headline, and then this is just a color bar with a gradient in it. And then the footer is done in a different layout. So this is what I want to show you here. We can only do so much on the front page of this site in particular, and you can actually do the whole entire page with this, but I do some other stuff with the Backend Editor. With the Backend Editor, you can actually add different parts to this site that are unaffected by Visual Composer, so that way you're using stuff that's like maybe hand-coded or custom coded elements or custom widget for like the header section and the footer section, and have it totally independent and still have a complete page. So let's go ahead and go to the Backend Editor. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave. None of my changes will be saved, and we'll go to the back end. And you'll notice it looks just like any other page or post, because you got to remember every page is actually a post. Everything is created as a post type. Every one of these little things that I'm hovering over here on the side, every one of these labels over here, every one of these is a post type that has been customized to be whatever it says it is, like a portfolio. Now, speaking of portfolios, you just saw me put together one on the front of that page. Now, for the Bruno theme, if you want to build a portfolio where you have an entire page that has a gallery, you have to go to this portfolio section. So if a guy in my class who's building the gallery for this site, he'd have to come here and he'd have to go to the portfolio, and he'd have to add a new one and start adding all the images to it, and add an image per post and label it and do all that jazz, and then set up the page as a gallery. This is where you would do that in the Bruno theme. Same thing with the testimonials. Any testimonial you add it in here. And then you use the DP portfolio widget on the front end, or here in the back end like I'm about to show you, and you simply just add it in there and you line out your CSS, and there you go. Your gallery will show up nice and beautiful, however you want it set up. But it pulls the images and the content from this portfolio post type. So that's connected together. So you have to set up all your images through there first, and then you can pull it in through a widget. Or you can just build a whole new page, drop that widget and the short code on that page, and then your whole gallery will show up there. Same thing with the testimonials. You can build a whole page. I highly recommend having testimonials in a like a little revolution slider, just a rotating slide on the front page. But I also recommend having a button to where people can actually click and go give you a Google review or a Yelp review, and have those links to your Google and Yelp accounts, and have a page where people can click and see all of your testimonials in one location. And that's what I would do. So there's a little piece of advice for anybody building a website there. Now, all these, like I said, are different post types. Even the plugin section, these are customized post types to hold different parts of information. Everything on here is a post type. So, and I'm going to show you how I've tied into this site what's called Lifter LMS. And this is a learning management system. If you're used to going online and seeing these online course places like Udemy and stuff like that, I have the same type of software installed into this website, which if I was to outsource this website and he wasn't a project client for class, this site would have cost him about $5,000. That's what I would have charged him. But we're doing this for a project, so it's just been fun and exciting to do this and work with the class on doing it and put everything together. I like doing it. I love doing it. It's really fun. So anyways, back to the back end of the page we're writing. This is the Backend Editor. Now, as you'll see, you can put your title, and you have classic mode or front-end editor mode, which if you click this button, it gives you this view right here. If I click classical mode, it's pure code, and you got to use the hard brackets, basically shortcode everything. But here you can see the mechanics of how it actually is coded in there. This is what the DOM actually reads. So you can see how everything's in there with these hard square brackets, and how everything is just put in there, and how your CSS is controlled, and how it calls on all these shortcodes. So really all Visual Composer is a PHP script that calls on all these different shortcodes to give you a certain view of the site. That's all it is. So it makes it really lightweight. This is all the code for that entire page, which it might look like a lot, but trust me, that's really not a lot of code for a site. So, but having to plug in and call back to the PHP code, that's what gives it some time. That's why we have a spinner or a loader on this site, so that way you don't have to see the whole process of it loading. So let's go back to the, hold on, cancel, where does it go at? There you go. Then I go front end, backend editor. So, okay, so now you see here's all my different sections. So this section right here I have hard coded, and since I'm using a slider, all I had to do is drop the short code in there. So you see here where my mouse is kind of hovering over. That's a short code for a slider. So this right here, let me open it up for you. So here's the spinner I was talking about. All the web page compiles. And then after it's done compiling, you see this big slider here. And after you see the slider, then you see that this is nothing but a shortcode here in the back end. So you see what I'm saying? This is a shortcode. Okay. But here's where you lay out the grid. It's a lot easier and just a lot more visual pleasing to sit here and click this plus button right here and start adding your rows and your different sections and lay out the grid. So now you can see here I have a row here. I've laid out a section here, and I've laid out my rows right here, 3 different columns. Within that, I've laid out another 3 grid section here, another 3 grid section here, and then another 3 grid section here. And you can actually drop all your elements in here too. Like you see how these green boxes are popping up. Those are the same elements that were on the front page that we were just editing. So you can do it either way. I like to lay out my grid back here and then go to the front part so I can actually see what I'm doing, because editing things here, like if I press edit, you only get the blue box and you don't really get to see what content you're putting up. You're just stuck with this view of the back end here, so it's not as visually pleasing and you can't see it, so it's kind of just all up to you. And you see here are all the different what do you call them here? The accordions that I've set up for them. So there we go. That's pretty much it. That's how you work it. You can just go over here, click the plus buttons. You can drag, manipulate these things any way what you want. But you click these pencils to edit. You want to duplicate or clone something, you use that. You want to trash can it, you use that. So you lay out your back end here, and you organize what you want the way you want here. And you go back to the front end and go ahead and leave, and you start editing visually by placing your elements on the page, like we've seen before. And now you'll see when this comes up what everything looks like. I apologize for everything taking so long to load. It's just we got a lot of stuff in this site. So here we go. So it loads the site, loads the spinner. And here we go. You'll notice up here too, it gives you different views, so you can see what it looks like on a desktop, tablet, and different mobile devices, based on your preset settings here in the back end. So let me get back there real quick. Give me just a second. So right down here in Visual Composer, in my general settings, I could go in here and I can set the different style heights and widths for different devices in here. I can add custom CSS and design options. I can assign different roles. The product license for the visual composers in here. Shortcode mapper to map out the different shortcodes, because you've seen how everything was basically a shortcode in the square brackets. You can I can change those square brackets if I want to and signs. You can do all kinds of different cool stuff. You can actually build the grid with the rows and the columns, pre-build that in here and call it whatever you want. That way when you go to a page, you just click it, press it, and boom, that grid's already there, and now all you got to do is start filling it in with elements. But this is how you work on it. So you start back here, build your grid, assign your parameters, and then just get over here and start editing, and that's pretty much it. And then after you're done, you click on the X, and that's pretty much it. After you click on that X, you go back to the page, and your work is done. That's how you work on a WordPress word site with Visual Composer. And you see how beautiful it looks and how lined up everything is and how everything comes back to life and how these boxes are here and all the products and how everything's nice and lined up here and how the custom images show up behind all this and how clean this all looks, and you know, everything works and functions perfectly normal. So looks great. So I'm going to go back to the back end because I want to go over a few things real quick. The client, I was showing this site. What we did is we're getting it to purchase a course. So to purchase a course, you go here. This gives you a payment gateway where somebody would purchase a course. So I'm going to open that real quick. I'm also going to go and do the student login and my courses. I'm going to show you what this Lifter LMS can actually do. It's really cool. So, and then this would just be a basic contact page, an about page. Like I said, we still need to import Frederick's gallery into this, which is simple. Just go to the back end, import the XML file from the the production site we were working on, and suck it right in and launch it. That's pretty much all you gotta do. And it'll bring in the images and everything. So here is his shop page. This is his animation course that he's selling. Now they can add it to a cart. I have WooCommerce hooked up. Everything is totally connected for this, and he can sell this and sell this to people right now. And it would go to his PayPal account, all the money, and he's ready to go. Now the student login section is going to be blanked out because there's not a student logged in, and we'll get to this in just a minute. And the my courses section, well, this content is for full membership only. You must register. And then what happens if you go to the registration button? It'll take you through a registration process. Then you have to register here and do all this stuff. So I'm going to go next out of that. Let me show you what this thing actually does. So Lifter LMS lets you build classes and put courses like Udemy. Now, if you scroll down the site here, you'll see you can buy this site, which is connected to the purchase course button up here. And if you keep scrolling, well, I got this section here for, people can preview the course, and I put some buttons where Fred can come in here and put like a little introduction video or podcast or something. They can click on it, and he can put a little snippet of what the requirements are, what software, computer platforms people need to do this, and maybe a little bonus information to get them really into wanting to buy the course from them. This is kind of a little marketing strategy here that's worked on many of my other clients, and it looks really nice too. And then you can always learn more, which will take them to the purchase page. This button here, view the full course description, I've laid out like these buttons here, which I don't know if he's clicked on yet, or if he noticed about this. But this page was designed by one of our classmates, Kevin, and I just kind of reinvented it and sucked it all in for him. But here is all the different courses that he's going to be offering. Now there's no courses in here, and this isn't what the course is going to look like. This is just a sample of what people can expect from this course, and there's still a little bit of missing information out of there, but I did put this this is what Frederick builds. He builds animated still life images, and I put it on a Flipbox form to where they can purchase now, connected to this, so they can go purchase the product. And, you know, bit of information, shows you all the classes he's got lined out, and, you know, he kind of do a little tiny description of what all these do to kind of get people, you know, a brief preview of the product, get them interested in buying it. Now that's what this is, okay? But this isn't where the course is going to go. This is where the course is going to go. Let me show you that. And Lifter LMS provides everything in the back end, and it even provides me the tools I can use with WooCommerce to build a payment gateway wall, so that way he can charge members either a monthly fee, yearly fee, or an upfront cost, whatever it is he wants. So let's go to Lifter LMS, and I got my courses down here. So this is where you'd set up all your settings, your reporting, what you can do reports for students. I can import different settings. You would know the status of different students. So if you had, like, you know, free students, paid students, super smart A students, whatever you want, you can define classes there. You can define the types of memberships there too. You can define membership types like we were just kind of spoke about. You can add memberships. You can add categories for memberships and tags. And you can set up multiple courses in here. And since he's only doing one course, it's pretty easy. So in here you can actually add a course. You can add categories, difficulties, tags. And the way the courses are built is off of sections and lessons. And he can actually add quizzes and everything else in here too. So let's go ahead and I'll go to courses real quick to show you what the courses look like. Because this is what people would actually see once they sign up and they've paid for the course. So let's go to the animation course. I'll click on that. They wouldn't have to go through this process. They'll go right to where we're going next. But I want to show you, it's all a post type. Everything is built around a post type. And you see this is where you set up the course just like a post. And we got options to block certain pages now and set up a pay gateway. So let's go to the lessons, because this is where people would actually go. This is the cool part about this program I like. You know, we set up the lessons. Well, hold on a second. See the categories. Hold on just a moment. I'm trying to see why it's not bringing me. I go to add course. No, that's not it. Was it just the course? Okay, I'm trying to figure this out real quick. Okay, yeah, here we go. I was clicking on the wrong button there. So if I click on Lifter LMS and not its side menus, and you can see down here it gives me the option to bring in all kinds of different plugins. It tells me how many courses I've sold, how many people are registered to my site, how many people are enrolled to the class. It gives me integrations, notifications for you and the student. So if you wanted to put out a blast, you go back here, you type in a notification, send it to every student, or you can direct it to one student, and you can click either whoever it's enrolled to, whoever's registered, or everybody. This dashboard back here gives you the power to control all the people that are taking your course and your lessons, plus the accounts, the checkouts, the memberships, and your course material. So, and like you can see, it's still all a derivative post type, but now let's go ahead and go to courses. And now this is what people will actually see once they sign up. They'll be brought to a nice clean screen like this, and he's got two sections here. So here's section 1, here's section 2, And the way you add a new section is you basically drag this thing over, you add it, drag it over, you drop it, add a new section, title it. After you have all your sections for whatever that course is, you add a new lesson. You go in here and you add your lesson under whatever one it is under. I'm not going to add it because I've already added it on here, and I'm going to go ahead and trash can that one. But you can do all kinds of things in here. Now let me show you where the quizzes were at. I'm just going to exit that. So the view that the students actually see isn't going to be that page with the buttons and the accordions on it. Let me go to memberships real quick. And this is where you would edit the memberships, and you can edit the different membership levels. Let me go back up here. Where to go? You can add restrictions. You can add different types on the enrollments. Plus, you can add content on the description of the enrollment and everything here. Now, let me go to status add-ons, course scatters, difficulties, tabs, tracks. Let's go to views. I'm trying to find the section where you can actually put in quizzes. It looks like that blue section where we were just at, where you can have the different key figures. I'm thinking it might be a different section now. Let me see here. It might actually be on a page. That's right, it might be on a page. Let's look in the pages real quick, because Lifter LMS sets up some predefined pages too. So let's look at that. Membership catalog. We'll go ahead and I'll open a view for that. My courses. Yeah, so here's the student dashboard. This is what I was looking for. The students get their own dashboard. Lifter LMS comes with this. So we'll see here what they look like. So here's the membership types, which I can add an image to the different membership types, and when somebody comes to choose a membership and go through the payment gateway, this is what they'll see, and they get to select one of these. You see here, these are who the different types of members I've set up, and I could put an image there with Fred's face and different picture, different colors to identify full membership, free membership, or the entire animation course. So, but here. Is this it? I'm trying to find out. Is this my courses? My account. Let's see what that one looks like. And then let me close that. And there's the checkout, but let's just go ahead and I'll show you from here. So basically, Lifter LMS gives you a course catalog. So if you have multiple courses, people can browse through the course catalog, and it puts everything on this page for you. It's got a predefined page. It's got your membership catalog, show you different membership types that we've seen. Then it's got the your My Courses. So let me go over here to My Courses again. I think I have the page locked, so it's not going to let me see it. That's why I'm not able to see it. Let me see. Restrict this page. So let me unrestrict it real quick. Alright. So let me do that. Let me update it. I'll just do this temporarily. That's why it's not showing me. Let me go ahead and get rid of the required membership. Let me get rid of that. Hold on. I forgot to unclick that too. Update the page. But now I can go to the My Courses page. Here we go. This should show me what the courses page looks like. And it's going to be a nice formulated, laid out course like you would see on any other professional site. down here. So you have the dashboard, you can view all the courses, you can view the achievements. So let's see, view all my courses. And we don't have any like totally built yet, but let me go back to that page and make sure it's the right one. Go ahead and click the full membership on, because we're still waiting on the content for the courses. Lock that up, update that. Let's go back here. You should be able to build the quizzes. I'm trying to find that section where you can build the quizzes and all that stuff at. Let's go to the builder. And when you're doing that, you go to builder, not edit or quick edit. You go to builder if you're going to edit the course here, the actual course itself. And you can add as many courses as you want. Expand all, so you can see that this is what I got in there. New lessons, existing lessons, I can add in there. This isn't what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is it's a whole admin dashboard for the student, and there's one for the teacher that lets them add quizzes. This is what I was looking for. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is where you'd see the picture of the student. This would be his course. This would be all the different sections, and he'd have all these different widgets to click on. Then all he'd have to do is click this box here, and then he would go to the reflections course, and there would be a video with the description and everything else he put into that. And back there where we just saw, that's where you could set in information. So he can lay out a section, like we have 2 sections, then he lays out a lesson, and then inside of the lesson he can add videos, he can add content, and he can design it like a page in each one of those, and he can add it all down there, and a whole list, a whole hierarchy of lessons. And then it all shows up like this, so that way it's all nice and wrapped up, and people can access this from their mobile device or their desktop, and they can do the actual lessons, watch the videos, read any of the descriptions and content, plus get any of their messages and stuff. They can leave comments, they can get push notifications if they're going to get new posts by emails, or if Frederick needs to put out a post-wide post, so that way they get all the notifications. So now let's go back here. I'm trying to find the actual section where he would be able to write quizzes and all that, because there's a section in here where you're building that, where you can add quizzes. Let me see the deck. Let's look at this one real quick. So this is also another vital section where you gotta put advanced, beginner, intermediate. You can put difficulties for the course. We go to settings over there. Tab there. Go ahead and open reporting. Status. Just open them all real quick. Why not? Alright, so let's go here. So if we go to courses, this is where we can see the course. I think maybe might be able to add a quiz in here. I'm trying to find the spot. There's a spot in here you can add a quiz. Yeah, I think you might be able to do that back in the section where we're in too. Just might have overlooked it. But either way, as you can see when this loads up, Lifter LMS is a whole total integrated software component within the back end of this WordPress site, behind all the pretty pictures, behind all the adaptable buttons and JavaScript and jQuery and all the coding that we've been doing. It's a whole entire software platform that is dedicated to taking payments and selling a course. Now, it might be, let me expand all. Let me see. No content. See no video. This is where I'd add a video. So I click here to add a video. Audio. Enrolled students only. if it's a prerequisite, you can, let's look in here real quick. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Awesome. So yeah, if this is a lesson he added in here, you got your section, we added this lesson. This section is called Reflections. So he could add the videos in here. He could select, the different method type, whether he wants to drip it on a specific date or if he only wants people to see it on a certain date. Total control back here. He can open the WordPress lesson editor, which I'll open in the next tab. He can detach this lesson, which takes it out of here and makes its own component, builds a post type out of it. He can create assignments within this lesson. This is all within one lesson here. See how we have the section over here to the left? You add that section, and then you add a lesson. And this is what you can do inside of that lesson. Just that one lesson. So the next lesson, which would be whatever, what's he got here? Sunset. You can do all this stuff just for that one. So each lesson, you get to have all this flexibility with. You get to add lessons, videos, content. You can embed different URLs. To basically build the entire page. You can add assignments, create a new assignment, create an existing assignment from something else, so he can copy one, so he doesn't got to keep rebuilding the same one. And he can add quizzes here, so he can add a quiz. He can click here, add a custom question, multiple choice, picture choice question, true or false, whatever he wants. And he can sit here and get feedback from them while they're taking the test. Or he can, if it's pertinent to what they're learning, he can just script out the whole testing situation. So this does everything you want it to do, 100% free, just to sell your courses. Now we're getting to a whole nother subject when we're going to set up the payment gateway walls, because once you start collecting payments for these things, then of course they want money for certain things, but there are ways around it. If you just want to build your own pay gateway like we did and use WooCommerce to have people buy it, and then you send people the activation and you send them their login information. Then they give them a login portal, they can log in, they're the only ones with it, and they get to access the course and experience all this. And you still have all the control within this to set times and dates and limits and basically schedule out an entire course on anything you can think of or desire. And this is the way it's laid out, and this is the way people see it. And I can even change features on this, such as the colors and all that stuff. So it's set to blue, and you can add anything in here. So I can create a new assignment. It's really, really awesome. You can set up your different membership types. You can even create a mom membership and make a secret password so where everybody in his family can access his lessons, as long as they got one secret code to put in. I mean, this is how cool all this is. And this is what we have to do. And as you can see over here to the left, I mean, it's simple as just dropping a box in there, naming it, and then just adding all your stuff to it. And that's it. Then after that, he goes and sells the course and makes some money, drive people to the website. I did put some SEO effort into this site, so he should be popping up on the local databases here in Tampa Bay. But other than that, this is the site we have been building with Visual Composers. We've built a full tutorial e-course website with the Bruno WordPress theme, PHP and JavaScript, and used Visual Composer and other components in the back end. Like I said, he's missing the gallery of all his work, which in order to do that, we need to build a page, call it gallery, Frederick's Gallery, whatever. Go down here to the where'd it go? Let me see here. The portfolio section here. Add all the images into a portfolio section. So if you was to add a new one, it would just be like adding another post type page. So if we're gonna add a new project, let's go ahead and call on. I'll just go ahead and label the project now gallery. So I'll publish that. I can even leave a description, but I'm not going to. Then I can start adding gallery items to this project type, because it's a post type within a post type. So I'm not trying to overload your brain, but that's what needs to be. So the gallery can be sucked in there, and we can leave a link on the page somewhere, and then people can go see all the wonderful, crazy, cool art this guy does. But other than that, let's see what these other pages do. There's a lesson. You got your course difficulties. You got your memberships, accounts. Check out. This is your admin. This is where Fred would be doing a lot of his work at, and collecting his payments. Here's that same section, and it's got different add-ons and stuff for here. Student, you got your courses, your quizzes. So yeah, this would be what the student sees. They can you get the student. You can see the courses he's built, the quizzes, the sales, and his enrollment. So and he can download and export a PDF or an Excel sheet there, so he can figure out his money stuff. System report. Which one's this? This is the utilities. Okay, so yeah, here's where you can get all of his reports. And all this can be found right under here. So this is reporting, settings, import, status. That's what these pages are. So, and on and on and on. But other than that, folks, this is it. So that's how you do it. And if you want to visit this site and check it out, go to frederickbarnes.site, and his site is live and wild, so you can check it out. And keep on coding. We'll talk to you later.